9.3.4 The shipping paper. The shipping paper shown in figure 9.6 describes a shipment. A shipping paper for hazardous materials must include page numbers if the shipping paper has more than one page. The first page must provide the total number of pages, for example, 1 of 4. A proper shipping description for each hazardous material. A shipper certification signed by the shipper saying they prepared the shipment according to regulations. Only the original shipping paper needs a certification. Copies or reprints do not. Figure 9.6 Shipping paper. To ABC Corporation, 88 Valley Street, anywhere. From DEF Corporation, 55 Mountain Street, nowhere. Page 1 of 2 pages. Quantity 1 cylinder. HMRQ. Description: phosgene 2.3 UN 1076, poison inhalation hazard zone A, weight 25 pounds. This is to certify that above named materials are properly classified, described, packaged, marked, and labeled, and are in proper condition for transportation, according to the applicable regulations of the United States Department of Transportation. Shipper, DEF Corporation, Smith, October 15th, 2003. Safety first. Special instructions, 24-hour emergency contact, John Smith, 1-800-555-5555. Figure 9.6. Explanations for sample shipping paper items in figure 9.6. 1. RQ means that this is a reportable quantity. Phosgene is the proper shipping name from column 2 of the hazardous materials table. HMT. 2.3 is the hazard class from column 3 of the HMT. UN 1076 is the identification number from column 4 of the HMT. Poison inhalation hazard must be noted if determined by an entry in column 7 of the HMT. 9.3.5 The item's description. When a shipping paper describes both hazardous and non-hazardous products, the hazardous material must be listed in one of the following ways. Described first, printed in a contrasting color on the original or highlighted on a copy, identified by an X placed before the shipping name in a column captioned HM. The letters RQ may be used instead of X if a reportable quantity is present in one package. The basic description of a hazardous material must include, in this order, identification number, the proper shipping name, hazard class or division, and packing group if needed. The packing group is displayed in Roman numerals and may be preceded by PG. The identification number, proper shipping name, and hazard class must not be abbreviated unless specifically authorized in the hazardous material regulations. The shipping paper entry for a hazardous substance must also include the total quantity and unit of measure, the number and type of each package, the letters RQ if reportable quantity. If the letters RQ appear in the name of the hazardous substance, for all materials with the letter G, generic, in column 1 of hazardous materials table, the technical name for the hazardous material. Poisonous inhalation hazard must be noted to determine by an entry in column 7, special provisions of the hazardous material table. When column 7 refers to a special provision for a hazardous material, the meaning and requirements of that special provision are explained in 49 CFR 172.102. Total quantity must appear before or after basic description. All packaging type and the unit of measurement may be abbreviated. For example, 10 CTNS, paint 3, UN 1263, PG 2, and 500 lbs. The shipper of hazardous wastes must also put the word waste before the proper shipping name of the material on the shipping paper. Hazardous waste manifest. For example, waste acetone 3 UN 1090 PG2. A non-hazardous material may not be described by using a hazard class or identification number. Shipping papers may also have to include an emergency response telephone number, depending on the type of hazardous material that is being shipped. The emergency response telephone number is the responsibility of the shipper. It can be used by emergency responders to obtain information about any hazardous material involved in a spill or fire. You should check the regulations to determine when an emergency response telephone number must be included in the shipping papers. Shippers also must provide an emergency response information to the motor carrier for each hazardous material being shipped. The emergency response information must be able to be used away from the motor vehicle and must provide information on how to safely handle incidents involving the material. It must include information on the shipping name of the hazardous material, risk to health, fire, explosion, and initial methods of handling spills, fires, and leaks of the materials. Such information can be on the shipping paper or some other document that includes the basic description and technical name of the hazardous material. Or it may be in a guidance book such as the Emergency Response Guidebook, ERG. Motor carriers may assist shippers by keeping an ERG on each vehicle carrying hazardous materials. The driver must provide the emergency response information to any federal, state, or local authority responding to hazardous material incident or investigating one. 49 CFR 172.1.604 requires that the emergency response information on the shipping paper is also prominent, readily identifiable, and clearly visible through methods such as highlighting or printing in a different color or larger, different font. The shipping paper must include an emergency response telephone number, including appropriate international area code for telephone numbers outside of the United States. If the shipper is also the emergency response provider, the shipper must provide a contact name on the shipping paper. If the shipper utilizes an emergency response information provider, ERIP, the shipping paper must identify who is registered with the ERIP by name or contract number. This information must be immediately before, after, above, or below the emergency response telephone number. 172.604C requires persons preparing shipping papers for continued transportation to include the required information and, if taking on the responsibility of providing emergency response information themselves, to comply with all requirements. 172.604 9.3.6 Shipper certification. When the shipper packages hazardous materials, he/she certifies that the package has been prepared according to the rules. The signed shipper certification appears on the original shipping paper. The only exceptions are when a shipper is a private carrier transporting their own product and when the package is provided by the carrier, for example, a cargo tank. Unless a package is clearly unsafe or does not comply with the HMR, you may accept the shipper certification. Concerning proper packaging, Some carriers have additional rules about transporting hazardous materials. Follow your employer's rules when accepting shipments. 9.3.7 Package markings and labels. Shipper's print requires markings directly on the package and attached labels or tag. An important package marking is the name of the hazardous materials. It is the same name as the one on the shipping paper. The requirements for marking vary by package size and material being transported. When required, the shipper will put the following on the package: the name and address of shippers or consignee, the hazardous materials, shipping name and identification number, the labels required. It is a good idea to compare the shipping paper to the markings and labels. Always make sure that the shipper shows the correct basic description on the shipping paper and verifies that the proper labels are shown on the package. If you are not familiar with one of the materials, ask the shipper to contact your office. If rules require it, the shipper will put RQ, marine pollutant, biohazard, hot, or inhalation hazard on the package. Packages with liquid containers inside will also have package orientation. Markings with arrows that show correct upright direction. The orientation arrows must always be pointing upward during transportation. The labels used always reflect the hazard class of the product. If a package needs more than one label, the labels must be close together near the proper shipping name. 9.3.8 Recognizing hazardous materials. Learn to recognize shipments of hazardous materials. To find out if the shipment includes hazardous materials, look at the shipping paper. Does it have an entry with a proper shipping name, hazard class, or identification number? A highlighted entry or one with an X or RQ in the hazardous material column? Other clues suggest hazardous materials. What business is the shipper in? Paint dealer? Chemical supply? Scientific supply house? Pest control or agricultural supplier? Explosives, munitions, or fireworks dealer? Are there tanks with diamond labels or placards on the premises? What type of package is being shipped? Cylinders and drums are often used for hazardous material shipments. Is the hazard class label proper shipping name or identification number on the package? Are there any handling precautions? 9.3.9 Hazardous Waste Manifest. When transporting hazardous wastes, you must sign by hand and carry a uniform hazardous waste manifest. The name and EPA registration number of the shippers, carriers, and destination must appear on the manifest. Shippers must prepare, date, and sign by hand the manifest. Treat the manifest as a shipping paper. When transporting the waste, only give the waste shipment to another registered carrier or disposal treatment facility. Each carrier transporting the shipment must sign by hand the manifest. After you deliver the shipment, keep your copy of the manifest. Each copy must have all needed signatures and dates, including those of the person to whom you delivered the waste. 9.3.10 Placarding. Attach the appropriate placards to the vehicle before you drive it. You are only allowed to move an improperly placed placard vehicle during an emergency in order to protect life or property. Placards must appear on both sides and both ends of the vehicle. Each placard must be easily seen from the direction it faces, placed so the words or numbers are leveled and read from left to right, at least 3 inches away from any other markings, kept clear of attachments or devices such as ladders, doors, or tarpaulins, kept clean and undamaged so that the color, format, and messages are easily seen, affixed to a background of a contrasting color, In addition, the use of "drivers safely" and other slogans is prohibited. The front placard may be on the front of the tractor or the front of the trailer. To decide which placard to use, you need to know the hazard class of the material, the amount of hazardous material shipped, total weight of all classes of hazardous materials in your vehicle. 9.3.11 Placard Tables. There are two placard tables, Table 1 and Table 2. Table 1 materials must be placarded whenever any amount is transported. See Figure 9.7. Except for bulk packaging, the hazardous class in Table 2 need placards only if the total amount transported is 1,001 pounds or more, including the package and the amount from all shipping papers from all the Table 2 products you have on board. See Figure 9.8. Figure 9.7. If your vehicle contains 1.1 explosives, placard as explosives 1.1. If your vehicle contains 1.2 explosives, placard as explosives 1.2. If your vehicle contains 1.3 explosives, placard as explosives 1.3. If your vehicle contains 2.3 poisonous toxic gases, placard as poisonous gases. If your vehicle contains 4.3 dangerous when wet, placard as dangerous when wet. If your vehicle contains 5.2 organic peroxide, type B, liquid or solid, temperature controlled, placard as organic peroxide. If your vehicle contains any amount of 6.1 inhalation hazard, zone A and B only, placard as poison inhalation hazard. If your vehicle contains 7 radioactive yellow 3 label only, placard as radioactive. Figure 9.8. Placard Table 2, 1,001 pounds or more. Category of material 1.4 explosives, placard names explosives 1.4. Category 1.5 explosives, placard explosives 1.5. Category 1.6 explosives, placard name explosives 1.6. Category 2.1 flammable gases, placard name flammable gases. Category 2.2 non-flammable gases, placard name non-flammable gases. Category 3 flammable liquids, placard name flammable. Placard name combustible liquids, placard name combustible. Category flammable solids, placard flammable solids. Category 4.2 spontaneously combustible, placard name is spontaneously combustible. Category name 5.1 oxidizers, placard name oxidizer. Category 5.2 other than organic peroxide, type B, liquid or solid, temperature controlled, placard name organic peroxide. Category 6.1 other than inhalation hazard, zone A or B, placard poison. 6.2 infectious substances, placard name none. Category 8 corrosives, placard name corrosive. Category 9 miscellaneous hazardous material, placard name class 9. Category ORMD, placard name none. Flammable may be used in place of combustible on a cargo tank or portable tank. Class 9 placard is not required for domestic transportation. You may use dangerous placard instead of separate placards for Table 2 hazard class when you have 2 or more categories of non-bulk Table 2 hazard classes requiring different placards, and you have not loaded 2,205 pounds of aggregate gross weight or more than any Table 2 hazard class material at any one place. You may use the specific placard for this material. When you have subsidiary class of poison, inhalation hazard, or poisonous gas, you must placard for the primary and subsidiary hazard regardless of the amount. The dangerous placard is an option, not required. You can always placard for the materials. If the word inhalation hazards are on the shipping paper or package, you must display poison gas or poison inhalation placard in addition to any other placards needed by the product's hazard class. The 1,000-pound exception does not apply to these materials. You need not use explosives 1.5 oxidizer placards if a vehicle contains Division 1.1 or 1.2 explosives and is placarded with explosives 1.1 or 1.2 placards. You need not use a Division 2.2 non-flammable gas placard on a vehicle displaying a Division 2.1 flammable gas, or for oxygen, a Division 2.2 oxygen placard. Materials with a secondary hazard of dangerous when wet must display the dangerous when wet placard, in addition to any other placards needed by the product's hazard class. The 1,000-pound exception to placarding does not apply to these materials. Placards used to identify the primary or subsidiary hazard class of a material must have the hazard class or division number displayed in the lower corner of the placard. Materials with secondary hazard of poisonous by inhalation must display the poison inhalation hazard placard in addition to any other placards required. Permanently affixed subsidiary hazard placards without the hazard class number may be used as long as they stay within color specifications. Placards may be displayed for hazardous materials even when not required, so long as the placard identifies the hazard of the material being transported. A bulk packaging in a single container with capacity of 119 gallons or more. A bulk package and a vehicle transporting bulk package must be placarded, even if it only has the residue of a hazardous material. Certain bulk packages only have to be placarded on the two opposite sides or may display labels. All other bulk packages must be placarded on all four sides. Subsections 9.1, 9.2, and 9.3. Test your knowledge. 1. Shippers package in order to blank the material. Drivers placard their vehicles to blank the risks. What are 3 things you need to know to decide which placard, if any, you need? A hazardous materials identification number must appear on the blank, and on the blank, the identification number must also appear on the cargo tanks and any other bulk packaging. Where must you keep the shipping papers describing hazardous materials? These questions may be on your test. If you cannot all answer them, reread section 9.1, 9.2, and 9.3.